Today, we need to talk about JHope getting hurt and what happened there. I wanted to get into JHope also talking about Jin and Jin's treatment in the military. And then, of course, we need to talk about YG releasing a statement about something. So hey dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, hey Spilling Mug merch, and let's go. I don't typically address holidays in these videos as I want them to be a bit more timeless. And if I add the holidays in the videos are dated and then people in the future are like, when was this? But Happy New Year. Don't worry about accomplishing every goal this year. Even if you manage to try to do one of them or a small thing, it still counts. JHope was here to welcome us to the new year. And of course, we need to talk about it. I will get into it. But we do have a lot of really weird things going on and unexpected things. Recently, I don't know where all these news stories are breaking out, where so many of the big artists of YG are just leaving YG. It's not an actual fact that they're leaving, but it's just rumors, and then it's reported by several K-media sites. This is definitely problematic and a big deal. You might think, okay, so some news falsely reports so-and-so leaving, and they're not, so nothing changes. Nothing major would change necessarily with the artist, especially if label stands realize that it's false. They'll usually just re-stand the artist anyway. However, a lot of investors and people who buy label stock are usually not as in tune with everything. If the reason they invested in a specific label was because they really believed this one artist would succeed, and then this artist is being falsely reported to leave, this could actually cause the company to lose money. I don't know if they have, but if investors are like, okay, a Blackpink is apparently leaving, okay, so will I. As you can see, this is actually bad, and I don't know where these reports are coming from, and if it's an insider trying to leak false things, or if it's more of a harmless theory that was just assumed in the media. And if that is the case, then you really can't do anything about it. There's no malicious intent, and people can speculate about anything. But if it's someone leaking false information, that's not good. But apparently only one of the members of Big Bang reported to leave YG, and Blackpink falsely reported to leave. iKON's Bobby was also reported to leave YG, and when YG got a hold of this, they quickly shut down the rumors to say that this was false. And typically YG does not address things. They'll only address things if it's of super importance, meaning money usually. Because rumors and stuff, these things happen, and it's stupid. No real adult cares if so-and-so is dating so-and-so, and that doesn't affect the artist's bottom line and doesn't affect the label. You can care about the dating rumors and think it's cute or follow along, but to send death threats or attack the idol for it, it's quite weird because it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect their music, and it doesn't affect the world at all. It doesn't affect the industry. It does nothing. Why does it matter? Obviously it does because they get into scandals, but I'm saying it shouldn't, and YG has that sentiment too, which is why they don't often acknowledge or address those types of rumors. Jenny even posted a photo a little while ago that said, "Don't trust the media," and she's 100% right about that. The media shows a part of the story. The media shows an interpretation of a story, and the media is often biased to whoever wrote it or is publishing it. For example, a station like maybe TMZ is going to be more focused on gossip and those sorts of lifestyle celebrity things, while maybe a station like NPR, if they do talk about a celebrity, it would be more of the political and economic impact of said celebrity, and neither of these situations would give the full story of the celebrity because they're focused on one side. I don't know if this is a good example or if it makes sense. People have been very excited over the BTS boys' new solo endeavors for the reason of getting to know their life and see their interests. JHope was someone who I think everyone was shocked to see what type of music he ended up releasing for his new album. He also has been promoting very much in the American market with Lollapalooza, and recently just welcomed us into the new year with his performance at the Rockin Eve celebration. JHope performed Equal Sign and Chicken Noodle Soup. We do react to this over on Patreon. Will be posted tomorrow there, so if you're interested in fangirling over that, we still do have a $1 tier that is currently open. We'd love to see you there. I will link all that below. Not only was the full performance posted online and raved about, something I don't think I've seen other artists do was practice on that stage. The behind the scenes of JHope practicing ended up being recorded and posted online. He wasn't going full out. He was just kind of figuring out where to stand, and he was just kind of going through the motions. Of course, you typically don't want to go all out during rehearsal leading right up to the performance, as you don't want to tire yourself or your voice out. A moment that was posted online that got everyone shocked was a moment he was walking down some steps. I think he was at a higher platform and the main part of the stage was at the bottom. This wasn't just a moment that some fans caught, but it was being recorded and put on the big TVs all around Times Square. So it was clear that it was going on, and JHope stepped on a step and it looked like he slipped and fell. He was okay because there were crew around to catch him and also stop his fall, because it would be terrible if he tumbled. The slipping, you can't really be mad at anyone. It was rainy and that stuff is bound to to happen, and better during rehearsal than when it's live on TV. However, it appeared the fall was weird enough that his watch actually went undone, and it appeared like he might have hurt his wrist, and that seemed to be the general consensus. He continued to walk on stage to go through the motions, but he apparently made a sad face, which armies took as a response that he was not feeling well or that he was physically hurt. You can see it clearly on the big screens, and you could hear the armies going "aw." Of course, we don't know how bad it hurt, but he didn't seem to be touching his wrist much afterwards. He was able to actually execute the live performance perfectly, so we need not to worry. He seems not to be in such big pain. So I'm glad he's okay. I don't think he was hurting, although I can see how it would appear like he might have been in pain or was implying that he was hurt. JHope obviously will be the talk of the town with this performance. He was definitely not the first K-pop act to be on the Rockin Eve. That was BTS. But the fact that he was asked to do it for his solo stuff is so cool. It's even cooler to think that each member of BTS has a different promotion rollout. Like JHope has been promoting and doing shows that are very different from what Jin or RM is doing. And Jungkook doesn't have an album, but is getting different opportunities. Very cool, and I think doing solo work like this is a great way for them to reach a much bigger audience, so when BTS comes back together, they will have almost a new set of audiences. Very cool. JHope was also on a live stream, and he talked about Jin a little bit. This was so touching in a good way. I couldn't believe that we got another update from Jin. It really hasn't been that long since we had last officially seen him in a video, right? Like, it hasn't even been a month, but the fact that we know that he is supposed to be out of the spotlight is enough for us to want to hear more about him and where he's at. I want to read the entire quote of what JHope said and give you that. This was translated by another army, so keep in mind I can't verify if this was exactly what was said during the stream, but it sounds right. JHope said, "Jin went to the army too. Yesterday on the 30th, Jin actually texted me, JHope, so I said, Hyung, how are you? And he said, pick up the phone, and I said, I didn't know this number. Hearing Jin's voice comforted me. He is doing really well, and he's really healthy." This of course got armies very emotional because there's rumors of him being stalked or that his privacy is being exposed. There's a lot of concern and anxiety around what he's been up to. To hear that he is fine, he's not upset, and that he's healthy and well, it just debunks every bad rumor about him and what he's doing. Basically, Jin is talking to JHope about him being treated well, and there's nothing bad that is happening. There are many concerns over if he's being bullied or mistreated. The bullying situation would be less likely. Like maybe teasing could be a thing. However, I don't think that would happen, and I'll explain. But in terms of hitting Jin, if anyone were to hit Jin, I am sure HYBE would probably sue, because you can't injure the nation's pride. And then in terms of being teased verbally, I just don't think anyone would tease Jin, the multi-millionaire and super successful guy. In Asian culture, being successful is not considered weird like maybe in some places. For example, if you're on a TV show in high school, you can get bullied for that. That's happened to a lot of child actors. But in Asian places, if you're making money and have a career going, people applaud you. So bullying is less likely. Also, as you get older, bullying like that typically stops. People mind their own business, and if they don't like you, they simply just won't be around you. Another fear was the food situation. However, that was covered by several news sites that reported that the recent food in the military has actually been much better, and it's like really nice homemade Korean food. And some pictures appear to look like what HYBE even serves. So Jin might be used to that type of food. When I saw the pic, I was about to join the army just so I could get some of that food. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.